Sacred One, you've felt it, haven't you? That feeling that you're being watched over, that someone has your back even when you're alone. What if I told you that this isn't just a feeling, but a fierce, divine reality? What if there's a powerful guardian, a force of pure, protective love, ready to throw down for you, to put hands on anyone who dares to mess with you? I want to take you back to a moment in my own life. I was going through a period of intense spiritual attack. It felt like everything was falling apart. I was exhausted, emotionally drained and questioning everything. The world felt like it was closing in and I felt so incredibly small. One night I had a dream. It wasn't a peaceful dream. It was a fierce, protective one. I saw this powerful being, not of this world, standing in front of me with its arms outstretched. It wasn't a gentle, meek figure. It was a warrior, its eyes burning with a righteous fire. It turned to face a shadowy, chaotic force that was coming for me, and without a moment's hesitation, it charged. It wasn't about negotiation or turning the other cheek in that moment. It was about protection, pure and simple. I woke up with a jolt, my heart pounding, but for the first time in months, I felt an undeniable sense of peace and safety. It was in that moment that I truly understood. I wasn't fighting alone. My battles weren't just my own. Chosen ones, you are not here by accident. You are not a pawn in some cosmic game. You are the protagonist, the hero of your own divine story. And the universe, the divine source, God, or whatever you call that ultimate power, has assigned a protector to you, a guardian who is not afraid to get their hands dirty. This is not about passive faith. This is about an active, fierce, and undeniable love that says, I've got this one, don't touch them. I know what some of you are thinking. Isn't faith supposed to be all about peace and love? Absolutely. But true love, the highest form of love, is also fiercely protective. Think of a parent shielding their child from danger. That's the energy we're talking about here. This is a side of spirituality you might not have been taught, a raw and unapologetic truth for the spiritually awakened. Chosen ones. If you've been feeling beat down, if you've been questioning your path, or if you've been feeling like you're on your own, I need you to watch this video until the very end. We're going to dive deep into 7 undeniable signs that your spiritual protector is ready to go to war for you. This isn't just another motivational video. This is a wake-up call, a spiritual pep talk, and a battle cry for your soul. Let's get into it. Point 1, the sudden, unexplained end of a toxic relationship. Have you ever had someone walk out of your life so quietly, it felt like they were never really there to begin with? One day you're trying your best to keep the friendship alive or giving your heart in a relationship, and the next day, silence. No drama, no closure, no final conversation, just gone. That's not an accident. That's divine intervention, chosen one. When you're walking a divine path, you're protected in ways that often don't make sense in the moment. What you experienced wasn't abandonment, it was alignment. See, the truth is you don't always get to choose who exits your life, but your energy does. Your spirit knows what your heart hasn't caught up with yet. While your mind is trying to rationalize red flags, your higher self has already sent the eviction notice. That relationship that drained you, the friendship that belittled you, the job that made you feel like a shell of yourself, they were spiritual toxins. And the universe, it's your detox system. Energetically speaking, when you elevate, everything around you starts to vibrate differently. People who were once comfortable around you suddenly get uncomfortable. They may not even realize why. You didn't change overnight. They just can't manipulate your upgraded frequency. And instead of confronting their own shadows, they retreat, or the universe ejects them on your behalf. This is spiritual pruning. Painful? Yes. Necessary? Absolutely. Here's what they don't tell you. Spiritual protection isn't always gentle. Sometimes it looks like sudden breakups, ghosted friendships, being let go from a job, or having doors slammed in your face. But what's really happening is divine rerouting. Your guardian, whether you call it God, the universe, or your higher self, is saying, this is not your burden to carry. This is not your lesson to repeat. This is not your cage to live in. And just like that, it gets cleared. No explanation, no permission. Scientifically, we're all energy. Quantum physics confirms what mystics have known for centuries. Everything vibrates. When your internal vibration rises through healing, awareness, and self-love, your external world must reflect that. If someone's energy is rooted in control, fear, gossip, or insecurity, they simply can't match your frequency anymore. They fade out like static in a signal too strong. But here's the kicker. Don't chase what's been divinely removed. If it left without effort, don't resurrect it with desperation. You are not meant to grieve what was never in alignment with your purpose. Trust that your spiritual team, your unseen army, saw the things you didn't. The shady conversations behind your back, the manipulation in sweet words, the envy hiding behind compliments. They saw it all, and they said, no more. You may feel lonely after the clearing, but you're never alone. You're in the sacred space between who you were and who you're becoming. Let it be quiet. Let it be sacred. Because something beautiful always follows spiritual subtraction, divine addition, real friends, aligned lovers, purposeful connections, peace, clarity, power. So next time someone exits your life with no explanation, smile. That's the sound of your angels doing heavy lifting. They're not being petty, they're being protective. Because chosen ones don't beg to be loved, respected, or seen. They align, they attract, and when needed, they release. Let the universe do its job, and when it removes, don't resist, rejoice. Point 2, the eerie feeling of a presence. You're alone in a room, but you don't feel lonely. The lights might be dim, the world outside might be silent, but inside, there's something sacred, a calm, powerful presence. You can't see it, you can't quite describe it, but you know. It's like the air thickens with meaning. It's like the silence begins to speak. That gentle warmth wrapping around your shoulders. That sudden, almost electric chill that runs down your spine. That deep, inexplicable sense of peace that arrives out of nowhere. That's not imagination, that's not coincidence. That's your spiritual bodyguard checking in. And for chosen ones, this is not rare. It's divine protocol. Chosen ones don't walk this earth unguarded. Your calling is too important. Your energy is too sacred. You carry frequencies that shift rooms. You bring healing to broken spaces. You disturb darkness simply by breathing. And because of that, you are watched over constantly. You may have felt this presence as a child, when you were frightened but suddenly felt calm. Or maybe during a moment of danger, when something just pulled you back from a bad decision, a close call, or a risky path. Science might call it intuition. Psychology might label it gut instinct. But spiritually, this is your divine backup team in action. Now let's get real. This protection doesn't mean life will always be smooth. In fact, for chosen ones, the opposite is often true. You face more trials, more betrayals, and more spiritual warfare. But here's the key difference. You're never fighting alone. While others may fall apart in isolation, you rise in it. You find strength where others collapse. Why? Because your solitude isn't empty, it's escorted. That room you sit in where you feel alone, it's actually filled with ancient power, with angels, with unseen forces that have been assigned to your soul since birth. Do you ever wonder how you made it through what should have broken you? How did you keep your heart pure after all the betrayal? How do you still have light in your eyes, even after walking through some of the darkest nights? That wasn't luck, that was your protector. Sometimes whispering, sometimes shielding, always present. It could be an ancestral spirit. It could be an angel. It could be a direct assignment from the divine. But whoever they are, their loyalty is unmatched. And here's the fascinating part. Modern science is finally catching up. Studies on human consciousness and energy fields have shown that the body emits electromagnetic signals that shift with emotion and intention. That gut feeling you get before something happens, that's real. The heart's electromagnetic field is 5,000 times stronger than the brain's. That means when you sense a presence, when you feel watched over, you're likely tuning into an energy outside your physical body. A spiritual frequency that your soul, not your mind, is decoding. But chosen ones don't need studies to believe what their spirit already knows. You've always sensed the unseen. You've always had that extra awareness. It's why people call you weird or too deep. It's why you can walk into a place and feel the residue of something not right. You're spiritually sensitive, and your protector, they work with that. They don't just guard you from danger, they guide you toward your purpose. So the next time you feel that warmth in an empty room, the next time you hear the silence shift, don't doubt it. Smile, close your eyes, say thank you. Your spiritual bodyguard just clocked in again, and with them by your side, even in the loneliest place on earth, you're exactly where you need to be, watched, guarded, and destined. Point 3, unlikely coincidences and divine intervention. Think about that one moment, chosen one. When you were dead broke, anxiety chewing at your ribs, and then boom, a check you weren't even expecting slid into your mailbox like a divine whisper. Or remember when your car just wouldn't start and you were annoyed, maybe even late, and then you found out there was a 5-car pileup on the exact road you were headed for. You didn't miss a disaster. You were protected from it. That wasn't luck. That wasn't just timing. That was divine orchestration. That was someone, something, working behind the curtain on your behalf. That was your spiritual team clocking in without you even realizing they were on shift. We call them coincidences, close calls, or lucky breaks. But the chosen ones know better. We know those are coded messages from the higher realms. Heaven has a strategy. And sometimes that strategy looks like inconvenience, breakdown, or delay. But in the end, it's always divine protection wrapped in mystery. The world calls it serendipity. The spiritually awake call it divine intervention. There is a spiritual principle known as divine timing. It's not bound by the clock on your wall or the deadlines you stress over. It doesn't care about your schedule. It cares about your destiny, your protector, the source, the Most High, your spiritual guides or guardian angels, whatever name you give it, operates on a cosmic calendar. And when you're one of the chosen, that calendar is tailored just for you. That means sometimes things won't make sense in the moment. They'll hurt, they'll delay, and they'll frustrate you. But when the dust settles, you'll look back and realize it was all precision. It was all love in disguise. And science might try to explain these occurrences away as random probabilities. But even some quantum physicists have admitted there are patterns and phenomena they can't quite crack. Nobel Prize-winning physicist Wolfgang Pauli and psychiatrist Carl Jung even worked together to study meaningful coincidences, or what Jung called synchronicity. These were events that didn't follow normal cause and effect, but had intense emotional or spiritual meaning. Sound familiar, chosen one? You've lived that. You are that. See, the chosen ones walk a path that others don't understand. And because your calling is higher, your protection is deeper. You don't always get what you want. You get what you need. You get what your assignment requires. And if that means stopping your plans cold to protect your soul, so be it. If it means delaying your breakthrough so your character has time to grow into it, that's what will happen. And yes, it will feel like rejection. But God's rejection is actually redirection. He's not taking something from you. He's preserving something for you. And don't get it twisted, chosen one. Your spiritual team isn't just reacting to what's happening. They're preparing things ahead of time. You think it's random that you meet a certain person at the grocery store who ends up opening a door for you 6 months later? Nah, that's chess. That's your guardian spirit setting up divine appointments while you were just trying to buy oat milk. What makes this powerful is not just that it's happening, but that you're starting to see it. You're becoming more spiritually sensitive, more in tune. Your spiritual eyes are opening, and once they do, you can't go back to sleep. You realize the game has always been rigged in your favor because your calling demands it. So the next time something delays, blocks, or redirects you, don't panic, don't spiral. Pause and smile, because you know now it's not rejection, it's protection, it's divine timing. It's evidence that your path is so important it requires spiritual security at all times. That's not just love, that's strategy, and it's proof that you are never alone. Point 4, the internal roar of righteous anger. Now this one might surprise you, and it should, because what we're talking about isn't your everyday flare-up. It's not road rage or getting salty over a snide remark. No, this is something deeper, raw, and even ancient. Have you ever felt that sudden surge in your chest, that slow, simmering heat rising not out of revenge, but out of truth? That's righteous anger. And if you felt it, chosen one, you weren't just angry, you were activated. Righteous anger isn't born from the ego. It doesn't whisper, "They hurt my pride." It roars, "This violates my spirit." This kind of fire doesn't burn destructively, it burns clearly. It cuts through lies, through manipulation, through the noise of gaslighting, and it draws a line, not in the sand, in stone. It says, "No more, not today, not with me." Now here's the powerful truth many people overlook. This isn't just your own strength at work. This is your protector spirit rising within you. Chosen ones are not alone. You're watched, guided, covered. And when that moment comes, when your soul says, "Enough is enough," your protector steps forward. That's divine backup. That's the ancestral energy. That's God moving through your spine. Your courage doesn't just come from trauma or experience. It's often spiritual. It's inherited from the unseen realm. You're not snapping. You're awakening. It's not unlike what researchers call the defense cascade, the biological response to threat. But the chosen one's version isn't just adrenaline and cortisol, it's spiritual adrenaline. It's as if your very DNA has been coded to rise when others bow. And when that code is triggered, your voice steadies, your eyes sharpen, and people feel something ancient in your presence, something they can't name, but they know not to cross it. That's why people don't mess with lions. Lions don't walk around growling at every squirrel. They're calm, focused, powerful in stillness. But cross the line, and you'll meet a beast that was never trying to scare you. It just is what it is. As Proverbs 28:1 says, "The righteous are as bold as a lion." That quote isn't just poetic, it's a prophecy about you. The word righteous here doesn't mean perfect, it means aligned with truth. It means you walk in integrity, in clarity, and in mission. And when that mission is threatened, when your peace is disturbed, when your character is attacked, when the weak are trampled, your lion shows up. Not to destroy, but to restore balance. See, your boldness isn't loud or performative. It's not about puffing your chest or clapping back online. It's a divine assertion, and it always shakes people, especially the ones who benefited from your silence. That's why, chosen one, you should never fear that moment when you finally speak up, step up, or push back. That's not you losing control, that's you reclaiming it. Your protector spirit is saying, you've tolerated enough, now rise. So next time you feel that righteous fire building in your chest, don't shrink back. Don't doubt it, feel it, trust it, because that's your spirit warriors handing you the mic. And when a chosen one speaks from that place, heaven listens, earth trembles, and hell scrambles. You are the voice of correction, the flame of clarity, and the thunder that follows injustice. And that roar inside you, that's sacred. That's your permission to be bold like a lion. Point 5, the sudden loss of desire for what doesn't serve you. Ever wonder why that bad habit, one you swore had claws in your soul, suddenly vanished without a fight? Or how someone who once had emotional power over you, whose texts used to shake your world, just stopped mattering, not blocked, not ghosted, just irrelevant, no fiery breakup, no dramatic final talk, just a silent vanishing act. Poof, gone. What used to consume your thoughts now doesn't even register. And while it might feel like it just happened, like you matured overnight or simply ran out of emotional fuel, there's something much deeper at play here. This wasn't coincidence, and it certainly wasn't just your own grit or willpower. This was divine interference, a quiet surgical move by the unseen force that watches over you. This was your protector at work. See, the common picture of divine protection is flashy: angel wings, car crash miracles, toxic people being exposed. But when you're truly chosen, protection runs deeper than armor or rescue missions. The real threats aren't always around you. Often they live inside you, in your cravings, your patterns, your unhealed wounds. That's why your protector doesn't just fight battles on your behalf. They also step into your mind, into your wiring, and begin clearing out what threatens your destiny. It's less about shielding you from enemies and more about reconfiguring your internal compass so you stop self-sabotaging. It's like spiritual pest control. They're quietly removing the termites while you're busy thinking the house is fine. Now let's take a scientific detour for a second. Neuroscience tells us your brain is not static. Through a process called your brain can rewire itself based on new experiences, thoughts, and behaviors. Every time you resist an old temptation, every time you choose peace over chaos or truth over a convenient lie, your brain lays down new pathways. The old ones, they start to fade, that toxic X you couldn't stop thinking about. Their memory no longer triggers dopamine. That substance, scene or cycle that used to be your escape now feels dull and empty. And it's not just because your circumstances changed, it's because you did. But don't be fooled. This isn't just chemistry, this is. The reason it felt like you woke up one day and suddenly lost the taste for that thing or person is because your divine protector moved in silence. They intervened when you couldn't. They made the craving expire. They did the spiritual equivalent of deleting an app you kept reinstalling. One day you felt that obsession, that pull, that need, and the next nothing. Not indifference born out of bitterness, but a quiet clarity, a detachment that felt holy. That's not self-control, that's being. Because when you're chosen, you don't always know what's dangerous to your soul. Sometimes what you call love is just trauma bonding. Sometimes what you call fun is really a mask for spiritual decay. And your protector? They see all of it. They know what your future demands. And they know that version of you, the one still clinging to false comfort, can't walk through the door of destiny. So they start stripping you of your appetite for things that can't feed the real you, things that satisfied your ego but starved your soul. Ever bite into something you to love and realize it tastes like cardboard now? That's what happens when you spiritually grow. That toxic friend group, those reckless behaviors, that emotionally unavailable person you used to chase, they no longer fit the upgraded version of you. You've evolved, and your taste has evolved with you. The cravings that once ruled you now feel like outdated software, and the updates, they were installed without fanfare. While you were sleeping, while you were grieving, while you were healing, you didn't lose your edge. You gained discernment. You didn't fall off. You were rerouted. Because your protector doesn't just guard your life, they guard your becoming. Yours is sacred. So if something or someone doesn't align with it, they'll be quietly ushered out. No drama necessary, just distance, disinterest, detachment. And at first it might feel confusing. You'll wonder, why don't I want that anymore? But if you listen closely, you'll hear the whisper of something greater saying, because it no longer serves you. This process is not always gentle. You may feel confused, even betrayed by your own heart. You might try to force old habits or revive old desires, only to feel sick, uncomfortable, or deeply out of sync. That's your spirit saying. That's your protector locking doors you tried to pry open because they know what's coming. They know the person you're becoming, and they're not letting you ruin it by dragging the dead weight of your past into your promise. So when something or someone exits your life with no closure, thank your protector. When you wake up one day and feel disgusted by a habit that once defined you, thank your protector. When you realize you've been too quiet to notice that the chaos left your life, thank your protector. Because the most powerful rescues aren't always loud. Sometimes the greatest deliverance happens in silence, in the quiet rewiring of your mind and soul. That's why the chosen often feel strange, out of place, or suddenly uninterested in what once excited them. It's not depression, it's not boredom. It's divine detox. Your palate is being reset. Your cravings are being purified. You're being trained to desire what is healthy, what is holy, and what is aligned. Because you can't fulfill a divine assignment with toxic desires. And here's the final truth. The greatest enemy of your purpose was never a person. It was the version of you that would have settled, that would have justified the toxic relationship, that would have glamorized dysfunction, that would have delayed destiny for temporary pleasure. Your protector saw that version and said, not on my watch. And now you're free, lighter, focused, no longer addicted to what harmed you, no longer chasing what dimmed your light. So the next time you feel confused by your own healing, remember this, you are not going backward, you are being upgraded. Your protector isn't just fighting battles, they are forging the future. And sometimes the most miraculous rescue is being saved from becoming someone you were never meant to be. Point 6, feeling a divine push forward. There are seasons in every chosen. One's life when the path seems foggy, the energy feels drained, and the motivation that once burned like wildfire has reduced to flickering embers. You feel disconnected from your purpose. You question whether you've strayed off course or whether you ever even had a direction to begin with. These are what some mystics and spiritual scholars call divine pauses, a moment of spiritual recalibration. But just when you've sunk deep into that stillness, when you're about to accept that nothing is moving, something strange begins to stir. A thought enters your mind. Start that project. A name pops up in your head. Text them. A craving to take a bold leap arises out of nowhere. It's not random, it's your guardian angel nudging you, whispering, it's time. Chosen ones are not ordinary beings. You carry a frequency that is divinely designed to disrupt darkness and awaken sleeping souls. But because your energy is so potent, it needs to be carefully timed. Your spirit can't be out here operating on human schedules. So when you're placed in a season of spiritual stillness, what seems like a rut, it's not punishment. It's preparation. In fact, in ancient traditions, spiritual initiates were often isolated before their enlightenment. Moses wandered in the desert, Yeshua fasted in the wilderness. The solitude wasn't a setback, it was divine alignment, then out of nowhere movement. That's the pattern, because chosen ones don't walk by logic. They walk by signals. And when your guardian angel knows the time is right, they stir your soul. They don't always show up with trumpets and flashing lights. Sometimes they just inject your heart with undeniable clarity. It's the kind of knowing that wakes you up at 3 a.m. with an idea. The kind of certainty that makes you speak boldly, even when you've been silent for months. That sudden push is spiritual energy in motion, and it never lies. Science backs this up too. Neuroscientists have studied what's known as spontaneous insight. Those aha moments that seem to come out of nowhere. They found that these moments often arise after periods of rest or stillness, when the subconscious mind has been quietly processing information all along. But what science calls insight, spirituality calls divine communication. That idea wasn't just your brain connecting dots, it was your higher realm whispering the next step. When this happens, don't hesitate, don't second guess, don't try to reason it out with the logical mind. That sudden urge to create, to move, to reach out, it's a spiritual activation. Your guardian angel is handing you the key and unlocking the door at the same time. You're not being motivated, you're being summoned. They're saying, the time for rest is over. Let's go, your destiny awaits. And here's the secret, chosen one. When you move with divine timing, everything aligns with you. Resources appear, connections unfold, blockages dissolve because you didn't force the door open, you waited until it was divinely unlocked. That's how spiritual momentum works. It looks sudden to the world, but to you, it feels like destiny catching up. So when that invisible hand starts pushing, don't resist. You're not going crazy. You're waking up. You're not late. You're right on time. And the push you feel, that's your spirit team reminding you who you are, chosen, protected, and led. Get ready. You're stepping into your moment. Point 7, a deep, unshakable peace in the midst of chaos, when everything around you feels like it's falling apart, relationships unraveling, careers dissolving, and family ties strained to the breaking point, yet you somehow remain calm. That's not a coincidence. That calmness isn't detachment or numbness. It's not apathy. It's divine protection. It's the still, quiet presence of something far greater than your circumstances. What you're feeling in that moment isn't emotional suppression. It's spiritual anchoring. While others around you might be driven by anxiety and chaos, you seem to operate on a different frequency, a frequency of peace that surpasses understanding. In fact, Philippians 4:7 refers to this kind of peace as the peace of God which transcends all understanding. Science may chalk it up to resilience or high emotional intelligence. Psychology might call it emotional regulation, but if you're spiritually tuned in, you know it's more than that. It's divine alignment. It's what happens when a soul has been forged through adversity and refined by purpose. This kind of peace is not born from avoidance, but from endurance. When you've been through repeated storms, your nervous system learns not to panic at the first crack of thunder. That's not indifference, it's wisdom. And for those who are chosen, this peace becomes your birthright. You're not operating on earthly instincts anymore. You've learned to pause, to breathe, and to wait for divine instruction before moving. That stillness isn't laziness, it's obedience. It's knowing that not every battle is yours to fight, and not every fire is yours to extinguish. You've become a vessel for something higher, and your calm is a result of being in tune with a plan you don't yet fully see, but deeply trust. Think of it like this. In military strategy, the most powerful soldiers are not always the loudest or most aggressive. They're the ones who can hold their position under pressure, waiting for the right command. That's you. You've been spiritually trained to hold your ground. While the world scrambles, you stand with a quiet authority, not because you're unaffected, but because you are protected. In neuroscience, this level of inner peace is often linked to the brain's ability to regulate cortisol, the stress hormone. But what science can't quite measure is the unshakable presence of divine reassurance. That voice in your spirit that says, "Be still, I've got this." It doesn't come from textbooks or therapy. It comes from the sacred connection between your soul and your Creator. This calm is not just a survival mechanism, it's a divine signal. Your guardian, whether you call them God, Source, or the Holy Spirit, has gone ahead of you. They've seen the chaos and they've already prepared your exit strategy. That's why your heart isn't racing with panic, even when the world seems to be burning. You're not alone. You've never been alone. And that strange calm in the middle of your storm, That's your spiritual armor. It's the holy confirmation that your steps are ordered, even when the road isn't clear. So the next time you feel that eerie peace in a moment when everything should feel wrong, embrace it. That's not you losing touch with reality, it's reality bending to protect you. You are being shielded so that you can stay focused on your higher purpose. The world is loud, yes, but listen closely. Underneath the noise, your spirit is hearing something far more important. You are safe. Keep walking. I'm with you. Chosen ones, this is your reminder. Spiritual strength doesn't always look like roaring lions and dramatic miracles. Sometimes it looks like being calm in chaos. It looks like trusting the silence. It looks like knowing deep within your bones that you are fiercely loved and fiercely guarded. Don't confuse your stillness for weakness. It's divine strength in its purest form. Stay alert, stay grounded, and never forget you were chosen for a reason. Keep shining.